Another thing that is worth pointing out is you don't just have to do financial engineering, cutting spending and cutting taxes in order to try and solve this lower interest rate problem. You can also solve a lot of this through deregulation. Because again, one of the reasons why interest rates are high is because prices are high. And if you can move inflation substantially lower and maybe even prices, the absolute level of prices lower, then you will be able to lower interest rates naturally because lenders won't have to charge as much for their loans if they know their purchasing power won't be eroded. And one way you can lower prices of everything is by deregulating. In other words, removing the restrictions on production, because that's all of these regulations are. It is imposing artificial restrictions on the production of goods and services. Things like energy regulations that make it difficult or a lot more costly to produce abundant and cheap energy, whether you're talking about oil, nuclear, or anything else. Now, I'm not talking about subsidizing energy production because that defeats the purpose. You're pumping more money into that. You don't want to subsidize, but you don't want to heavily regulate either. You want to lift the restrictions off the economy so that people are free to produce what they need and what they want. And removing restrictions from businesses to produce goods and from producers of energy to produce energy, which is an input cost on every good and service, will mean lower prices and again, an increased quality of life and lower borrowing costs as well.